I would like to go over the solutions for the worksheet for this section. The first skill is to factor a higher degree polynomial. If we have x to the fourth minus 10x squared plus 9, this is a trinomial that we want to try to obtain the two binomial factors. X to the fourth factors as x squared times x squared. Then the factors of 9 have to make up our last terms. The only way to get a product of positive 9 and a sum of negative 10 is to use the factors of negative 9 and negative 1. So remember that the last sign being a positive or a sum means that the binomial signs have to be the same and they're whatever's in the middle term. Now, x squared minus 9 is a difference of two squares that factors as a product of the conjugates x minus 3 times x plus 3. Similarly, x squared minus 1 is a difference of two squares, so that factors as x minus 1 times x plus 1. A to the fourth minus 14a squared minus 32, again, difference of, again, a trinomial. We need to factor a to the fourth as a squared times a squared. We need to find the factors of negative 32, whose sum is negative 14. If you think of the factors of negative 32, we can have a 1 and 32, 2 and 16, and notice that 2 and 16 do subtract to give us 14. We need different signs, and the larger one being negative, so we have a negative on the 16 and a plus on the 2. A squared minus 16 is a difference of two squares, which factors as the product of conjugates a minus 4 times a plus 4. Four y to the fourth minus 25y squared plus 36 is a trinomial. We need to find the factors by either doing the trial and error method or the AC method. So let's just try some things. If we put 4y to the fourth as 4y squared times y squared, and then we think about 36 as either 36 and 1, 2 and 18, 3, 12, 4 and 9. There's a lot of those factors. We'll try 4 and 9 to begin with. So I'll put the 9 here and the 4. And let's see if that works. So the outer would be a 16, the inner would be 9, and we need a sum to be 25, and that does give us a 25. And we need a negative 25, so both of those are negative. Now those are each the difference of two squares, so that factors further. 4y squared minus 9 is 2y minus 3 times 2y plus 3. And y squared minus 4 is y minus 2 times y plus 2. Nine a to the fourth minus 7a squared minus 16. A trinomial. So if we want to find the factors of 9a to the fourth, let's just try 9a squared and a squared. And for 16, there's 16 and 1 or 4 and 4. So if I put the 1 in 16, notice that I would get 9 times 16, which is 144 and 1, so that definitely won't give us the 7 there. Let me try changing the order of those. So let's put a 16 in the first position and a 1 in the last. And if we look at the outer product, that's 9, the inner is 16, and they do have a difference of 7. So this will work. We need to have different signs on the two binomials with a larger product being negative. And so we're looking at the outer product is 9, the inner is 16, so the larger one needs to be negative. So negative goes for the 16 and a plus on the 1. Now 9a squared minus 16 is the difference of two squares, so we can factor that further. And that will be 3a minus 4 times 3a plus 4 times a squared plus 1. Remember, we can't factor a binomial that's the sum of squares because a plus 1 squared is a trinomial, not the binomial a squared plus 1, so that does not factor any further. Number 5 is 16x cubed plus 32x squared minus x minus 2. This has 4 terms, so we want to try grouping. If we pair together the first two and the last two, between 16x cubed and 32x squared, notice there's a 16x squared in common. Dividing each term by that common factor leaves us x plus 2. And then minus x minus 2, there's a factor of negative 1 that we can bring out, and dividing each by negative 1 leaves an x plus 2. So we have this common binomial of x plus 2 that we can factor out, and that leaves us x plus 2 times 16x squared minus 1. But again, 16x squared minus 1 is a difference of 2 squares, so that's x plus 2 times 4x minus 1 times 4x plus 1. Number 6 is 98t cubed minus 49t squared minus 8t plus 4. Again, grouping needs to be used because there are 4 terms. 98t cubed minus 49t squared have a common factor of 49t squared. Dividing each of those terms by this common factor leaves us 2t minus 1. And then minus 8t plus 4, those have a 4 in common, and we factor out a negative because of that front term being a negative. So dividing negative 8t by negative 4 leaves a 2t, and 4 divided by negative 4 leaves minus 1. So here again we see a common binomial of 2t minus 1 that we factor out, and that leaves 49t squared minus 4. But this is the difference of 2 squares, which factors further, so we have 2t minus 1, and then 49t squared minus 4 is 7t minus 2 times 7t plus 2. Number 7 is 2x to the 4th minus 32. There's a common factor of 2. That leaves x to the 4th minus 16. X to the 4th minus 16 is a binomial that is a difference of 2 squares, so that factors as the product of conjugates, specifically x squared times x squared, and minus 4 and plus 4. Now x squared minus 4 is a difference of 2 squares, so that factors as x minus 2 times x plus 2. And then the x squared plus 4 can't be factored, so that remains in the factored form. Number 8 is 4a cubed minus 36a. There's a common factor of 4a, and 4a cubed divided by 4a leaves an a squared. 36a divided by 4a leaves 9. Now a squared minus 9 is a difference of 2 squares, so that factors as a minus 3 times a plus 3. Number 9 is m cubed plus 6m squared plus 9m. And so that is a trinomial that has a common factor of m. If we factor out the m first, we are left with m squared plus 6m plus 9. And now this trinomial we can factor. We know m squared factors as m and m. The factors of 9, whose sum is 6, are 3 and 3, and all signs are positive. So we can really write this as m times m plus 3 quantity squared. 2x cubed minus 14x squared minus 36x. There's a common factor of a 2x. And so factoring out that factor from each term leaves us x squared minus 7x minus 18. Now we need to factor this trinomial x squared minus 7x minus 18. And we look for what are the factors of 18 whose difference is 7. And that would be 9 and 2. Different signs, and the larger one needs to be negative. So we have 2x times x minus 9 times x plus 2. Number 11 is 4m to the 5th plus 500m squared. There's a common factor of a 4m squared, and that leaves m cubed plus 125. But then this is the sum of two cubes, right? Because 5 cubed is 125. So this is where we have to use that factoring pattern, where we need a binomial times the trinomial. So the binomial is what do we cube to get m cubed and 125, and that would be m plus 5. The trinomial is we square the first term, so we square m to get m squared. We take the opposite sign, which is negative, and multiply m times 5, or 5m. The last sign is always positive, and then we have to square the 5 to get 25. And number 12 is 3y to the 4th minus 24y. There's a common factor of 3y, so that leaves y cubed minus 8, which is again a binomial that is the difference of two cubes. So we factor this as a binomial times a trinomial. The binomial is what do we cube to get y cubed and 8, which is y minus 2. Then the trinomial, we square the y to get y squared. Change the sign to be positive. Then we have to form the product of y times 2, or 2y. The last sign is always positive, and then we square the 2 to get 4. A lot of problems there to review, but if you have any questions on those, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.